A resurgence of insecurity around the country after a national election must be revolting and provoke a sense of distaste to lovers of peace everywhere. The Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Sa'ad Abubakar III, has decried rising insecurity in the northern part of the country. He says it's so bad people are now scared to travel and that they leave foodstuff in their houses for bandits. The traditional ruler, himself a retired army officer, reflected that we needed to dialogue and forge a way forward. We have men and women who can think, but what we lack is the will to implement our decisions. That's what he said. Again, he thinks the security agencies aren't doing enough, Jide.
Yes, and I think that as a traditional ruler and a retired army officer himself, I think that he is really disappointed about the fact that we have not been able to deal militarily with this threat. Every time we make little gains, we hear all kinds of noise. Oh, we have exterminated these people, we have done this, we have done that. And I've always cautioned that the kind of threat that we face, you don't expect those threats to go away suddenly. There has to be vigilance and no let-up. There should be no let-up in the battle against these people. Because every time you think that the battle is won, suddenly you see them killing our people again. Yeah. How do you explain the level of bloodletting that we've seen since around the middle of March? Since around the middle of March, between Plateau, Zamfara, Kaduna.
Mention Benue, please.
Benue, more than 700 people must have been killed. I've said it so many times, and I will say it again. I don't know anywhere in the world where human life is as cheap as it is in our country. I dare anyone to tell me. Because even in war-torn countries, even in Syria, at the peak of the war in Syria, they were not killing people the way they kill people in Nigeria. No one. Because facts are the tools of our trade. Let us look at the facts. No one can controvert what I'm saying. Because the facts are there. It's as apparent as daylight that our people are being killed like lives don't matter in our country anymore.
Especially
how do you kill?
It's supposed peacetime.
We are supposed to be. That is why I use the example of Syria.
I know.
That at the peak of the war, nobody was killing people there like this. In Kebbi State, in Kebbi, you know how many vigilantes were killed? They killed some bandits, and we jubilated. They retaliated by killing more than 40 vigilantes in one day. There was a day that they killed more than 80 people in one local government in Kebbi State. A lot of the people farmers. So, how much longer will it take for us to solve this problem? I think the Sultan spoke out of frustration because esprit de corps makes it difficult for retired soldiers or even serving soldiers to openly criticize their
colleagues. Yeah.
Well, he's had to do that. He's saying that, oh, it is after the fact that we then see people come to the scene of carnage. We've got to stop these boys before they kill our people. It's not enough to come to the scene long after the birds have flown. Long after the horses have left the stable. That's when you show up and then you can't arrest anybody, they've gone. Yeah. And then they have the courage to come back again and kill people. Look at more than 100 people have been killed in Plateau State in the last few days. Some are still, some corpses are still in the bush. What I had never heard of what was we were discussing yesterday, that they even use corpses, angry people use corpses to barricade the highway, just to show their anger. I mean, innocent people just being killed.
And we can't call the bluff.
And we can't stop them. Look at what happened. Caregivers on the way to providing Medicare to the vulnerable in Anambra State.
And you are wondering.
And a bunch of people pretending to be human beings went and killed them. They did not just kill them, they set their corpses ablaze. This is bestial.
And you are wondering what statement they're trying to make.
What's the meaning of that?
All right. Yes, welcome back. Ibn Abo, let's revisit what the Sultan has said, that people would leave food at home just to make sure the bandits don't go gaga. It's crazy.
It is, absolutely. It is
crazy.
What I see here is when a government has not been able to make, the security of lives and property a front burner issue. Because at the end of the day, you will hear that, okay, the government is doing so much, is doing A, B, C, and D. But the truth of the matter is, whatever it is you are putting in place, as long as we are not seeing any form of abatement to this, needless killings, to us, you're not doing anything. If security has become such a conundrum, then seek for help. We have said this over and over. People just wake up and waste other people's lives. Farmers can't go to farm. That is why we have this. You can't go to the market today with the minimum wage is how much? 30,000 naira. You go to the market with the whole of your minimum wage.
Differs from state to state too.
Let's assume it goes across. You go to the marketplace with your 30,000 naira, the whole of your pay. You can't buy what will feed you for a month. So what are we talking about? So honestly, I'm just keeping my fingers crossed, and I'm being hopeful that in this May, we are going to hear from the president-elect. He's going to come up with what he's going to be doing about insecurity, because it has become a conundrum, like I said. It's like our leaders don't know what to do. So maybe we need fresh brains, we need fresh ideas.
Yeah, the Sultan has called for a national dialogue. And
which is very imperative.
Yeah, at a time like this.
Yes.
Is it possible, Jide, is it possible to bring Nigerians to the table at this time? And who do you bring? Who and who and who?
The problem is, even when people come up with those ideas, will they be implemented? Nigerians do not lack the right ideas to stop this nonsense. It's the implementation. It's the implementation. People will come up with all kinds of ideas, but at the end of the day, you just discover that they wasted their time. We've had a Oputa panel, we've had other judge sessions meant to help us find the solutions to our biggest problems. But at the end of the day, you see the findings will just be gathering dust somewhere. And the courage to take the big decisions, most of the time, our leaders don't have it. We are talking about impunity in our country. Look at the level of enforcement of our laws. The indiscipline, the impunity is just too much. You punish policemen today for misbehaving, the next day others will do it.
Yeah.
Because people commit crime
and
because they always have the feeling that they will get away with it.
That's it.
Where people are sure, where the system ensures that people do not get away with infractions, honestly, people will behave themselves. some Nigerians will come to our country and misbehave. Some of them based abroad. They dare not do such things in the countries, in their country of residence. Remember, even during the COVID, when there was, what was it called? Not curfew. What was the name that we were calling? Lockdown.
Lockdown, okay. During COVID, yeah.
Some nightclubs opened for business in Nigeria, and we saw returnees from the UK, from France and Spain. Some of them went to those nightclubs and were arrested. I can tell you that they will not dare it over there because they know they won't get away.
In their countries of residence.
Yes, but they can come and do it here. I remember one man based in Germany. He came to Lagos. He was staying in Alimosho. You know what he did? He gathered the waste that he generated in his household, put them in some bags, and then proceeded to dump them at road medians. So then he was arrested, and the mobile court found him guilty. And what did the mobile court order him to do? They ordered him to work with the people evacuating refuse and use his car, his Mercedes-Benz car, to pack the refuse. So they packed the refuse.
I remember that
At that time, Bola Ilori was the was the local government chairman.
Okay.
At that time in Alimosho. They packed the refuse. They filled his car trunk with the refuse, and then proceeded to put some on his car seat, including where the passenger sits, the seat beside the driver. So he was sitting
on rubbish,
almost hemmed in by refuse. So with the stench and everything, very early in the morning, he's out to pack refuse, and he will then go and dump them in the right space. Because the judge said, can you do what you just did here?
In your country of residence?
In Germany. Do they put waste on road medians in Germany? He said no. So why did you come to Nigeria to do it?
Because anything is possible.
Yes. You see, the thing. So those who are supposed to help us to make our country better, some of them are actually interested in making the country, in ensuring that the country doesn't work.
Marketing.
Yes, and at the end of the day, they are the ones who will say, oh, Nigeria, Nigeria is a useless place. What is the role that you are playing in making Nigeria work? So this is the thing.
Ibn Abba, let's go back to what the Sultan said. He raised these fears about the rise in food prices that might result in a food crisis.
We are already experiencing it. I just mentioned it. It will only get worse. But I pray
if nothing is done.
Yes. And to quickly digress, while BK was narrating that story, I remember there was a story, I think it was sometime in April.
This year?
Yes. Police Service Commission came out with a story that some officers were giving bribes for promotion. Now, when you give bribe to get promoted, how do you deliver in your office? How do you do the right thing?
Giving bribe is like dancing tango. It takes two.
So you see, we have the problems are the problem is hydra-headed, and whoever is coming in
has a tall order,
a very tall one. And if you look at it critically, you realize that if the president-elect has the right people who share his kind of ideals with him, in a short while.
As Jide said, kill impunity and the country will be free. Kill impunity.
That is it.
Yes.
Do we add more? kill impunity.
Honestly.
And it's,
Impunity is
impunity is an
it's a huge
enhancer.
problem.
You hear some people will tell you to your face, I go kill you, nothing will happen.
Nothing will happen. That's the thing.
And almost,
Don't you know me?
don't you know me?
You know who I am?
Do you know who I am? Who are you? You are you. I will call your bosses. I will call the governor. You infringe on the law, and you want to call the governor. Some of our, even some of our leaders unwittingly allow these things to happen.
Yeah.
Criminals are arrested in Lagos. They are told to be sent to Abuja. They get to Abuja. Some politician will just call, one of my boys is with you there, please.
A phone call and the guy
gets
free.
released. So the culture of believing that, I'm above the law, all it takes is for me to make a phone call.
Yeah.
All it takes is for me to call the governor. You call the governor. The governor is not busy. He has time to pick frivolous calls from aspiring jailbirds. What are we talking about? You can't call the governor. If you are arrested in the UK, are you going to call the governor? Are you going to call the governor? When look at the former prime minister of France now. Look at what he's going through.
Sarkozy.
Yes, we've seen countries jail their former president.
Yeah.
Can we ever get to that point in our country that we will look into the face of a former president, spit in his face, and jail
put him
him?
behind bars, yes.
Can we?
In almighty America, a former president is facing the law.
Yes, a woman complained that he harassed her sexually and all that, and the jury found him guilty. Here, he will not be guilty. They will accuse the woman of lying
Trying to
against
bring down a big man.
That is it.
Oh,